Think you know what's coming for the Commanders? Think again. While DC is buzzing over a multi-billion-dollar project that's bringing us back home, yeah, with the same architects behind Sophie, our season is bleeding out. Red alert. Our franchise quarterback is still out indefinitely. A breakout running back is getting sabotaged, and injuries are threatening to bury any hope we had. This isn't just a crisis. It's a trap that could sink us for years if we don't act now. You deserve the full story. How the mega stadium changes everything, why the offense fell apart, and who needs to answer for it. Don't miss the reveal that's about to shake up the entire NFC East. Subscribe or regret it later. News 1. Commanders name architect for new RFK Stadium. I can't believe what I just saw. The Washington Commanders just made it official. HKS will be the lead architecture firm for our brand new stadium on the old RFK Stadium site. Do you understand how massive this is? After years of playing in that rundown stadium out in Maryland, we're finally coming home. Back to the District of Columbia where we've always belonged. And let me tell you something. This isn't just any architecture firm. HKS is the same crew that designed Sophie Stadium in LA US Bank Stadium in Minnesota and Jerry Jones AT&T Stadium in Dallas. You know what it means to have the folks who built the most cutting-edge stadiums in the NFL working for us. It means the Commanders are betting big on the future of this franchise. The total investment, $2.7 billion. That's right, $2.7 billion going straight into the district. This isn't just a stadium. This is a full-on transformation of 180 acres into a year-round destination. Sports, entertainment, housing, recreation. This project is going to completely reshape that part of DC. Mark Klaus, the Commanders president, said something that gave me chills. Selecting HKS as the lead architect marks a major step in our journey to bring the Washington Commanders back home to the district. Did you catch that? Back home? Because that's exactly what this is. A franchise finally returning to where it belongs. And here's the wildest part. The goal is to have the stadium ready for the 2030 season. That means in less than 5 years, the Commanders will be playing in one of the most high-tech stadiums in the entire league. While Jerry Jones flexes his giant screen, we're about to have a stadium that'll leave jaws on the floor. But here's what really matters. This isn't just a construction project. It's a statement. Josh Harris and his ownership group are showing they're serious about bringing the Commanders back to greatness. After years of Dan Snyder dragging this franchise through the mud, we finally have owners who get what it means to be part of this community. I'm telling you this, when a team drops $2.7 billion on a new stadium, they're not doing it to stay mediocre. They're doing it because they've got big plans, because they're building a dynasty. And that's exactly what's happening here. The Commanders aren't just building a stadium, they're building the future of this organization. Can you imagine taking your kids and grandkids to that new stadium? Can you picture future generations of Commanders fans growing up in a place that actually reflects the greatness of this franchise? Because that's what's coming. This stadium is going to be home for the next 50, 60, 70 years. And while the rest of the NFC East is stuck dealing with day-to-day drama, we're laying the foundation to dominate this division for decades. The Cowboys have had their stadium since 2009. The Giants and Jets have shared theirs since 2010. The Eagles upgraded Lincoln Financial Field. And now we're about to have the newest and most advanced stadium in the whole division. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think it's a coincidence this announcement dropped while the team is in the middle of its worst stretch of the season? I don't. I think the organization is sending a clear message, no matter what's happening on the field this year. The future of the Commanders is bright, and that's exactly the message we needed. HKS isn't just designing a stadium, they're creating an experience. They're building a place where every fan, from the cheapest seat to the luxury suite, feels like part of something special. Because that's what the best architects in the world do. They build spaces that create memories, that make history. And you know what gets me hyped? This stadium is going to be in the heart of the district, not out in the Maryland suburbs, not in some far-off spot nobody wants to go to. Right in the heart of Washington, D.C., where this franchise was born, where we won 3 Super Bowls, where the legend of the Hogs was built, where Joe Theismann, John Riggins, Art Monk, and Darryl Green became icons. Those 180 acres at the old RFK site are about to become something that benefits the whole city. Jobs, housing, parks. This isn't just a sports project, it's a community project. And it shows the Commanders understand that being part of DC means being part of the community. It means giving back and helping the city grow. I'm telling you this, and I mean it with everything I've got. This is the biggest announcement we've had in years, bigger than any signing, bigger than any win. Because this defines the long-term future of this franchise. And that future, my friends, looks incredible. News 2. Commanders injury report versus Dolphins. If that blew your mind, wait till you hear this. Because now we've got to talk about something that's directly impacting our chances. This Sunday against Miami, the Friday injury report just dropped, and things are looking even messier than most expected. Let's start with the obvious. Jaden Daniels is out for the second straight game with that elbow dislocation. Our franchise quarterback, the same one who led us to the NFC Championship game last season, still can't suit up. And here's the scary part. The team won't even reevaluate him until AFTER the Week 12 bye. That means we've got no clear timeline for his return. Do you realize what that means for our season? We're sitting at 3-7, stuck in a 5-game losing streak, and our franchise QB is out indefinitely. Marcus Mariota has done what he can, but let's be real. He's not Jaden Daniels. Nobody on this roster is, but it doesn't stop there. Terry McLaurin, our number 1 wideout, didn't even make the trip to Spain. Scary Terry's dealing with a quad injury that will be reevaluated during the bye. He was working on the side this week, which is a good sign. But the fact that he's not available for this game is a massive blow to our offense. Now, let's talk about the new injuries, because this is where things get even more concerning. Ben Sinnott, our tight end, picked up a new ankle injury. He was limited in practice yesterday, didn't practice at all today, and is listed as questionable for Sunday. Sinnott's been a key piece in our run game, and losing him will be another hit for Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Jordan McGee, our linebacker, also popped up on today's report with a new knee issue. He was limited in Friday's practice and is questionable. McGee already saw reduced snaps last week against Detroit, and if he plays Sunday, it'll likely be in a limited role. And with our defense already falling apart the last few weeks, losing any more bodies is a serious problem. Now, there is some good news. Frankie Louvu and Quan Martin, both of whom suffered shoulder injuries against the Lions, had their first full practices today. They ditched the non-contact jerseys and should be good to go on Sunday. That's huge for our defense, especially Louvu, who's been one of our top defensive performers all year. Chris Rodriguez Jr., our running back, was a full participant all week after leaving the Detroit game with a shoulder injury. That's important because with the situation surrounding Jakery Krosky-Merritt, which we'll get into in a minute, we need Chris Rod healthy and ready to carry the load. Bobby Wagner is still out there grinding with that thumb injury he's been dealing with for the past 3 weeks. This dude is a straight-up warrior, 34 years old, future Hall of Famer, and still out there battling every week through the pain. That's leadership. That's what we need from our vets. But here's what really worries me. We've got 4 players who didn't even travel to Spain. Jaden Daniels, Traylon Burks, who had finger surgery, Al Cajo, who suffered a concussion on Sunday's kickoff, and Terry McLaurin. 4 key guys, not even with the team. Will Harris and Drake Jackson had their 21-day practice windows open to return from IR, but they're not coming back this week. Harris is still recovering from a fibula fracture, Jackson from a patellar tendon injury. They'll get the bye and another week of practice before the Week 13 game against Denver. I'm telling you this injury report is a perfect snapshot of how our season's gone. Every time it looks like we're getting someone back, we lose someone else. It's like playing injury whack-a-mole. And that makes it almost impossible to build any kind of rhythm or consistency. And you know what's the most frustrating part? Miami isn't even fully healthy either, but we're in way worse shape. They've got Tua Tagovailoa back. They've got Tyreek Hill. They've got Jalen Waddle. We're out here with a backup QB, no WR1, a questionable tight end, and question marks all over the depth chart. So let me ask you, how's Dan Quinn and his staff supposed to compete under these conditions? How are we supposed to slow down Miami's offense when our defense has given up 89 points in the last 4 games? How are we supposed to move the ball without Jaden and without Terry? I believe this game against Miami is going to tell us a lot about this team's character. Because it's one thing to lose when you're healthy. It's a whole different thing to keep fighting when you're absolutely wrecked by injuries. And that's exactly where we are right now. The Week 12 bye can't come soon enough. We desperately need that break. We need time for Jaden to heal, for Terry to come back, for all these guys to get a chance to recover. Because if we keep going like this, we're going to finish the season with half the roster on IR. News 3. The fall of Jakery Krosky-Merritt and the collapse of the run game, but all of that. It's nothing compared to what's next. Because now we've got to talk about something that's been flying completely under the radar in the middle of all this chaos. The total collapse of Jakery Krosky-Merritt and our run game. Remember the first 5 weeks of the season, when our backfield was straight up dominating defenses. Even after trading Brian Robinson Jr. to San Francisco in the preseason and losing Austin Eckler to a torn Achilles in Week 2, we had Krosky-Merritt, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Jeremy McNichols tearing it up. Week 5 against the Chargers, Krosky-Merritt went off. 150 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, and it looked like we had finally found our running back of the future. This 7th rounder was leading the entire league in yards per carry among eligible backs. The entire league. And then what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Krosky-Merritt has been invisible for the past month, and I'm not exaggerating, invisible. The same guy who was averaging over 6 yards a carry suddenly can't find a single lane. The next 2 games were against Chicago and Dallas, 2 of the worst run defenses in the league. Krosky-Merritt was supposed to feast. He was supposed to keep proving all the preseason hype was real. But nope, he just vanished. And here's the most frustrating part. There are multiple reasons for this collapse. First off, like any rookie, Krosky-Merritt hit a wall. Defenses adjusted. He's a patient, shifty runner who waits for holes to open up, and teams just aren't giving him those lanes anymore. But the bigger issue? The scheme? Cliff Kingsbury has lost all his creativity. He's not designing plays that get Krosky-Merritt to the edge where he can do damage. It's all inside runs against stacked boxes. How's a 190-pound back supposed to succeed running between the tackles against 8-man fronts? And here's the harsh truth. The Commanders haven't even been in position to establish the run. We've spent most of the last 4 games playing from behind. That means fewer carries, more passing. And when you're down by 2 or 3 touchdowns, you can't afford to be patient with the ground game. Running back might be the most dependent position in all of football. A back needs a solid O-line, needs a quarterback who keeps defenses honest, needs receivers who stretch the field, and needs an offensive coordinator who knows how to scheme space. Right now, Krosky-Merritt has none of that. I'm telling you this. Fixing Krosky-Merritt and the run game starts with fixing everything else. You can't run the ball effectively when you're down 20 points in the 3rd quarter. You can't establish the run when your QB is hurt and your top receiver is out. You can't run when your O-line is getting bullied. And the saddest part? Krosky-Merritt showed in those early weeks that he's got the talent to be special. He's got the vision, the patience, the burst. But talent alone isn't enough when everything around you is falling apart. So let me ask you, how do we get that run game back? How do we rebuild Krosky-Merritt's confidence? How do we get Cliff Kingsbury to start calling plays like he did at the start of the season? I believe it starts with getting back to basics. We need Jaden Daniels back so defenses can't stack the box. We need Terry McLaurin back to stretch the field vertically. We need the O-line to play with the physical edge they had early in the year. And Cliff Kingsbury needs to take a long look in the mirror and ask himself why his offense, which was one of the most explosive in the league early on, now can't even move the chains. He needs to find ways to get Krosky-Merritt into space. More motion, more misdirection, more creativity. Because here's the truth. If we don't fix the run game, we're not fixing this offense. And if we don't fix this offense, this season is going to be a total disaster. We've got the talent. We've got the pieces. But we need everything to click. The Week 12 bye is the perfect time to reset. For the coaches to evaluate what's working and what's not. For the players to heal physically and mentally. For everyone in that locker room to look each other in the eye and decide if they're going to fold or fight. So there you have it. A revolutionary new stadium, a brutal injury report, and the mysterious collapse of our run game. 3 stories that perfectly sum up where the Commanders are right now. Building for the future while fighting to survive the present. But here's my question for you, the most passionate fan base in the NFL. What's got you more fired up, the stadium announcement or the current state of the team? Do you think Jaden Daniels will come back after the bye ready to save this season? And what about Krosky Merritt? Can he get back to that explosive form we saw early on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I want to hear from you. This is a community. This is a family. And your voice matters. Are you optimistic about the long-term future with the new stadium? Or are you more focused on trying to salvage what's left of this season? And if you like this video, if you learned something new, if you feel more informed about what's going on with your team, then I need you to do one thing for me. Hit that like button right now. Share this content with every Commanders fan you know. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel, because this is what we do here, day in, day out. Win or lose, we're here covering the Washington Commanders with the passion and insight you deserve. Doesn't matter if we're 3-7 or chasing a Super Bowl, this community stays strong. So join the family, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so YouTube lets you know every time we drop new content. Because I promise you, tomorrow, the next day, and every day after that, we'll be right here bringing you the biggest stories, the deepest analysis, and the most complete coverage of the Commanders. This team might be going through tough times right now, but the future is bright. We've got a new stadium on the way. We've got a franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels. We've got an ownership group that's finally committed to excellence. And we've got the best fan base in all of sports. So don't give up on this team. Don't give up on this season. And definitely don't give up on this community. Because we are Commanders Nation and we never back down. See you in the next video with more news, more analysis, and more of that burgundy and gold content you love. And remember, hail to the Redskins!